Evan Dyer, CBC News. Prime Minister, you just talked about the goal in Ukraine being a ceasefire. In the past, you've talked about...
Sorry, not a ceasefire, an end to the conflict and a peace.
Okay. In the past, you've used the word victory. And I just want to ask you if, under the new circumstances, if the goal is still victory at all costs over Russia and Ukraine, or if it has moved a bit.
The fundamental challenge we face is that Russia violated some pretty basic principles of the international rules-based order. They violated the UN Charter. They are trying to demonstrate that if you have a big enough army, you can redraw lines on the map that have been established for 70+ years since the UN came into being. Any victory on that issue by Russia, any demonstration that if you have a bigger army, you get to redraw lines on a map, would have devastating consequences, not just for Ukraine, but obviously for Ukraine and Ukrainians, but for the entire world. How many countries have a neighbor that has a historical claim over this corner across the river where their citizens used to live, or that got rejigged 100 years ago? How many conflicts have been averted because the world has agreed that you may not like the borders where they are, but they are where they are, and they hold, and the world is willing to enforce those lines on a map? The fact that Russia has chosen to redraw those lines on the map is the thing that worries people the most around the world. And that's why it is so important that Ukraine wins this conflict, that Russia loses this conflict, that no one will look at Putin and said, well, it was a hassle, but he did get those territories that proved that might can sometimes make right. This is the stability of the global economy. It's the well-being of billions of people at play. And that's the principle for which we are collectively standing up when we are unequivocal that we will be with Ukraine, with whatever it takes, until they win.